Okay, can somebody please figure out whether or not expansion is still happening? Please. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from ESPN Central Texas. Thank you for making Locked On Big 12 your first listen every single day. And thank you to Dirk Palmer for sending me this cool BYU shirt. I'm getting a ton of BYU merch. Nobody else has sent any shirts or any hats. If you have one and you want to give it away to me. I will buy it from you. What is going on right now with all the expansion stuff? By the way, I've been watching the Big 12 brand poll and bracket thing on Twitter, and my conclusion is that you are all insane, just insane people. And it's why I love the Big 12 and why I think the Big 12 is in a great spot, because there are very passionate fan bases in this league. I expansion-wise am confused. Brett Yormark comes out to sources this week and says, hey guys, we're done with expansion. We think we're going to wrap it up. We're good. We're okay. Thanks everybody. Bye. Then Kirby Hocutt says, no, the Texas Tech athletic director, Kirby Hocutt, says, hey, the Big 12 is always going to leave expansion open. And now I am just sitting in the middle of this, and I get it. It's my job, right? I get paid to react and give you a poppy opinion and give you a here's what I think and here's what you should think and bring to your water cooler at work and here's what you should say about all this. But guys, can we just be clear with one another here? This is confusing. We are getting different ideas from different people. Obviously, Brett Yormark is at the forefront of the league, and he's the guy that we should trust. But at the same time, does a magician reveal all of its secrets? I don't think so. Is there a scenario here where the Big 12, if given the opportunity to pick up an ACC school, any of them really, outside of like a Boston college, is there a realm where the Big 12 says yes? To me, of course, Brett Yormark can come out and tell whoever he wants, hey, guys, sorry, expansion's done. You can stop talking about it. But I don't think it's realistic to believe that. I don't think it's realistic to believe that expansion is just over for the Big 12. We've heard from Trev Alberts, again, all-time name, Nebraska's AD, that this expansion thing has not even started yet, apparently. And the way that I see it in college football, and I want you to hold on to this, guys. When I am giving you what I think is just objective here, in that how could expansion be done? How could realignment be done when there is money involved? It is never going to truly be done, and we are headed toward a path where college football shrinks in size, where the big brands of college football shrink in size. And the reason why is money. And there's nothing that's going to change that. At no point in time will the leaders of these leagues say, you know what, we don't want money anymore. It's what makes this whole thing tick. So is expansion still going? Absolutely. Why is it still going? Money. Where is the Big 12 going? If expansion is still a thing, the only place left to go for the Big 12 is the ACC. And if you think for a second that if NC State's on the table, that if Pitt's on the table, that if Louisville's on the table and UNC and Virginia Tech, that Brett Yormark won't go after them, I think you're a silly goose. When somebody asks you, what do you think about expansion? Here's what I give them. Here's what I would give them if I was you. It's not done. Is it active? Maybe not. But the way that I will put expansion to you is it is a dormant volcano. If you are in the Big 12 and you're having an expansion conversation, you're talking about a dormant volcano. Sure, it is not exploding right now, but when it does, it will be aggressive and violent. And that violence is led by Brett Yormark. He is the catalyst to igniting that volcano. And when he does, he will go with full force to the ACC and pull teams out. You say, does that mean that Brett Yormark doesn't like college athletics? Is he a progressive in college athletics? Does he not like tradition in this? I don't know if the answer to that is yes. I don't think Brett Yormark hates nostalgia. I don't think he hates where college football has been, but I do think he likes money. I like money. I know you like money. And that's what makes this thing tick. So at some point, and I want to pitch you this idea for also, and it's pretty harsh, but come to terms with the fact that this is money related and we should be okay with it. People are out there like, oh, I hate it. It's all about money and oh, it's the worst. It's how you operate. It's how I operate. It's how the whole world goes around, man. Everybody that's saying, oh, this is about money and it's ruining college athletics. Does money ruin your job? Does money ruin why you have a yard sale? Does money ruin why you ask for a sponsor for your son's baseball team, your daughter's softball team? No, money is what does this stuff. Money is what makes this is welcome to capitalism. Everybody that says money is ruining college athletics, welcome to what capitalism is. This is just big schools. This is just big schools making big money. And you go, oh, it's not big schools. It's just the top 20 biggest schools. And I don't think you're correct. Do you know why? Because there's a difference in Sam Houston State and TCU. There's a difference in them, and there always has been. And you didn't complain then. You did not complain 10 years ago when Lamar was left out of the FBS. You weren't complaining. You know why? Because money. Lamar didn't have enough money. And you know what you said? Sorry. That's what's happening right now in expansion. That's what's next in expansion. That's why college football is still expanding and will continue to expand, is because money is the name of the game. So if somebody asks you, well, I guess the Big 12 is done. Brett Yormark said it, sure. But ADs have been very clear. Some ADs, some outside and inside of the Big 12, that expansion is not done. And I believe that's correct. We are still in a never-ending ball of expansion because money still exists. And when somebody asks you, what do you think about expansion? You say, as long as money exists, expansion will be there. And as long as expansion will be there, I'll be right there behind it, covering it the whole way, right here on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team, and it's every day. German short hairs, Labrador retrievers, and my shorts. Bird dogs. I would stand up right now if I wasn't in my cool new home studio. I would stand up and show you that I'm not wearing underwear. Whoa, Drake. You would show me that you're not wearing underwear? Yeah, but not like that. I would just show you my bird dogs. I don't have to wear underwear anymore, guys. I get to sit back in my cool little BYU shirt, wear these gray shorts, and not wear underwear. And I like wearing underwear, as most people do. But with these, they are built in. Bird Dogs is the place to go right now. And if you go right now, they will throw in a free hat. They use this anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. Anti-stink sweat. Anti-sweat and stink. However you want to put it. It keeps you cool and dry all day long. So I got Bird Dogs on right now. You're going to get a free hat when you buy Bird Dogs. I have mine. I wear it almost every day. I sweat in it a lot, but it also has that cool wick material thing that makes it not very sweaty. And I promise, if you want girls to love you, if you want guys to love you, if you want your mother to love you, buy a pair of Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege, or just make an order and enter promo code LockedOnCollege, and you get a free hat with your order. birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege, promo code LockedOnCollege for a free white hat. You will not want to take your Bird Dogs off. I can absolutely 100% promise you that. Should the Big 12 make a move toward divisions or pods? This has been a really weird conversation people have been bringing up the last couple of weeks is, the new Big 12, 14 teams. Should this league turn itself toward divisions? Should there be pods? Should there be protected rivals, which the SEC has toyed with? There were rumors about a year ago of the Big 12 going to a division setup. That's when the conference expected to have 12 teams. Now there are 16. What do you do with that? I'm going to tell you straight up. First and foremost, the worst, and you're going to disagree. I fear that you'll disagree with this. The worst thing this conference could do is go to a pod setup. Which is effectively a yearly rival, a protected rival setup. So if you are BYU and you're playing TCU, Utah, and Baylor every year, and then an odd mixture of random teams, UCF 1 year, Oklahoma State 1 year, can we just for a second realize how stupid and bad that is? You can only what makes the world go round. What have we said? What makes the world go round in college athletics is money. And if you're doing protected rivalries, then you can't create new rivalries. If you're like, dude, if I'm Cincinnati, I've really started to hate UCF. I really can't stand UCF. Too bad the Big 12 will only let us play every 3 years, every 4 years. That doesn't create a better product. That doesn't create consistent viewership. What does is when you know that Alabama will play LSU every single year, when you know Ohio State will play Michigan every single year, when you have plastered on the wall, hey, here's how we're going to do it. These teams are going to play each other every single season. That's what works best. And in the Big 12, here's the way you do it. No question about it. No question about it. I'm right here. I haven't said that yet. I won't usually say it, but I am right on this. Not a lot of things. I'm not right in my dating life. I'm not always right in school, which I graduated from and I'm not in anymore. Hell, I'm seldom right on Twitter. Very, very rarely. But I'm right about this. The Big 12 needs to go to divisions. They need to go to divisions. I was reading from Athlon Sports recently, who put the Big 12 in two different divisions, the East and the West. In the East division, they had Cincinnati, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, UCF, and West Virginia. What do you think about that? I'll put it on the screen for those who couldn't keep up with it. Again, it was UCF, then you have Cincinnati, you have Houston, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. It separates the Texas schools and the westernmost schools of this league. So you effectively take, again, Athlon Sports brings us this. You take every team in the West, every team in Texas and further west, put them in a division together, every team in the East and put them together. And I love it. I love it. Cincinnati plays Houston every year. And Iowa State plays Kansas every year. Oklahoma State plays Kansas every year. UCF plays Oklahoma State every year. UCF plays Iowa State every year. You start to build these yearly rivalries, these yearly games where you go to a school like Auburn, and Auburn feels like it has a partial rivalry with everybody in the SEC West. Why? Because they play every season. The West Division in the Big 12 would look like this: Arizona and Baylor, Arizona State, BYU, Colorado, TCU, Texas Tech, and Utah. And then you start to have, it's the reason, oh boy, I'm getting fired up. It's the reason everybody thinks the SEC is going to be so good is regionality. Oh, the SEC is so much stronger because the football is better and they're in one little region and they have all of this power because they will only take teams in the Southeast. They stick to their name. What if the Big 12 did the same thing, but just with divisions? What if the Big 12 had defined divisions where we'd say, hey, look, these 8 teams play each other every year. These 8 teams play each other every year. And you can guarantee that when you turn the TV on in the fall, at some point, you see Colorado play BYU. At some point, you see Colorado play Baylor. You see Arizona State play Texas Tech. You see Utah play Arizona. But it just makes sense. We shouldn't have to live in a world where we limit these teams, where we limit an Arizona to only playing 3 squads every year, guarantee, where they only know they're going to play 3 teams every year. And it keeps your schedule, it keeps continuity in your schedule. So you can say, oh, do you guys play Utah this year? Oh, yeah, we play them every year. Oh, is it home or away? Well, it was away last year, so it's home this year. Otherwise, do you play Utah this year? No, they're not a protected rival, so I don't know if we play them this year, but we could in the next 3 years. Do you understand how stupid that is? Do you understand how just asinine, completely asinine and stupid and terrible that is? Do what the SEC does. What's the biggest conference in America? It's the SEC. Fine. You can have that moniker. I'll give it to you. What do they do? What do they do correctly? Divisions. Give these teams squads that they will play every year. Create a rivalry between UCF and Oklahoma State. Create a rivalry between UCF and Houston that will not exist if they don't play on a consistent basis. It would only make sense to do it this way. Oh, it's grinding my gears. Don't do pods, please. The Big 12 belongs in 2 distinct divisions, period. And I will die on that hill. I will die right on that hill. And I will die on Locked On Big 12, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day. I think sometimes about FanDuel, and then I think about money. I like money, and you like money, and I like winning money, and that's why I go to FanDuel. They probably hate me because of the money that I win at FanDuel. Football season's about to kick off, and you have the best chance to win that you might ever have in your entire life. Don't go to Vegas. Don't go to Atlantic City, though it's a great song. Don't go bet somewhere else that's not those places. Don't go to Shreveport. Go to FanDuel. Right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, when you bet on one Super Bowl winner, the Chiefs per se, you get bonus bets every time they win a football game in the regular season. So if you bet on the Chiefs and they win 10 games in the regular season, which is on the low end, 10-7 is the low end for the Chiefs, you still get bonus bets every time the Chiefs win. Pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and when they win, you get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, overs, unders, more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Start earning bonus bets right now with America's #1 sportsbook. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and just trust me, you're going to love it. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Go there now. All right. I for BYU fans out there, you know I love you. You know that I've had a really good time interacting with BYU fans. And I think BYU is one of the biggest brands in the Big 12. They could be one of the best teams moving forward in the next few years in the Big 12. But what is this squad's biggest nightmare in 2023? I did this for Texas Tech. I'm going to do it for a few of these teams that I think have defined nightmares. And I really believe that BYU's, after last season especially, is missing a bowl game. I think that there's a real shot. There's a real shot that BYU struggles coming into this conference. The reason why being that's what happens with pretty much every team that moves from an independent or a group of 5 into the Power 5. And you've lost Puka Nacua, who's one of the best players that I've seen live. So what will BYU do for me this year? BYU had a bad defense in 2022. And you could probably go to the defensive side and say, here's where BYU's nightmare is, that it's the defense being bad again. But I think it's missing a bowl game. Schedule-wise, BYU, look. Listen to me, eye to eye here. You should beat Sam Houston State. You should beat Southern Utah. You've got a shot to beat Arkansas at Arkansas. You should beat Kansas. They have the worst defense maybe in the Big 12. BYU, you should beat Cincinnati. That out of the first 5 games, guys, I bought you maybe 4 wins, which is pretty close to bowl eligibility. Even if it's only 3 wins, you still got 7 games to go. TCU at TCU might be a loss. Texas Tech might be a loss. Texas might be a loss. But I'm going to gift you wins against West Virginia and Iowa State. Then Oklahoma at home is a tough game. They might win that game. Oklahoma State might be a loss. It is not the easiest schedule you could have gotten. I want to apologize. This was a bad welcome gift for you. But you've got to beat Sam Houston State, and you have to beat Southern Utah. That's 2 wins. That's 2 of the 6. That's a third of the wins you need to be bowl eligible. You will beat Cincinnati. That's 3. You will beat West Virginia. That's 4. You will beat Iowa State. That's 5. Now we have to find another win for BYU. The rest of the games, the rest of those 7 games, at Arkansas, tough. SEC team. At Kansas, tough. They have a bad defense, but their offense is so good. Texas on the road, that's really tough. Texas Tech at home, Joey McGuire's good. That's tough. Oklahoma at home, guys, that is tough. And then Oklahoma State and on the road to cap off the year. Those are 7 games that are not very easy. Kansas would usually be your cakewalk. You would usually say, oh, great. We have our guaranteed 5 wins against Sam Houston, Southern Utah, Cincinnati, Iowa State, and West Virginia. All we have to do is beat Kansas. We finish 6-6. This is not your mom and dad's, your grandparents' Kansas. This is a new Kansas. And I'm a little worried. As much as I like BYU, there's a realm where BYU finishes 6-6, and it's still a really successful season because this schedule is so tough. We didn't give you any breaks. I'm sorry about that, by the way. And I know Keaton Slovis could end up being an all Big 12 caliber quarterback, but the defense was so bad last year. And coming into the Big 12, coming into a Power 5 conference, the last thing you want is a bad defense. If your offense is shaky, but your defense is elite, that you're going to be fine. BYU's gone 11-1, 10-3, 8-5 the last 3 seasons. There has been really good competitive stuff out of BYU. But this schedule is tough. This team went 4-9 in 2017. Does that happen again this year? I don't think so. 4-9 seems dramatic. But as much as BYU could sneak up on some folks and win some games, the same could happen the opposite. Some folks could sneak up on BYU and win some games. I want to give you a reasonable scenario. Can you just follow along with me for a second? If you're a BYU fan or anybody, follow along. BYU beats Sam Houston, beats Southern Utah, beats Kansas, beats Cincinnati, beats Texas Tech because it's a home game, probably a night game at Lavelle Edwards, beats West Virginia, beats Iowa State. You're staring down the barrel of 7 wins there. Then you beat Oklahoma at home, 8 wins. You got a game at Oklahoma State is tough. Say you win that game. I don't think Oklahoma State will be very good. You've got 8 or 9 wins here on an upside. Downside, you lose to Arkansas, you lose to Kansas, you lose to TCU, you lose to Texas Tech, you lose to Texas, you lose to Oklahoma, you lose to Oklahoma State. That's 5-7. And then if a team like Cincinnati or West Virginia or even Iowa State sneaks up on you, it can get tough. So BYU's worst nightmare is not being bowl eligible. Because if BYU is not bowl eligible, it doesn't send a very good message year one to the rest of the league that says BYU is a big brand and ready to play. And as good as I think this team can be, as good as I think Keaton Slovis and Kalani Sitake are, I'm worried about BYU faithful that this schedule is just too much for the Cougars in year one. You know it's not too much? Coming back tomorrow for more Locked On Big 12. It's the best show in America-ish sometimes. I'm going to have a guest on the rest of the week probably because I have some big guests. I have one huge guest next week. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep coming back every day. Keep doing this, Jazz. Keep tweeting at me and whatever. This has been and it always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Big 12.